this is Mike Boland, Chief Analyst and VP of Content at BIA Kelsey, and I primarily cover mobile. Now, among the many different subsectors of mobile that I'm looking at, one we're going to go over today is mobile payments. And that's, of course, a very hot area right now, and it's gotten a lot of excitement and investment over the last few years, particularly more recently with the launch of Apple Pay, which we're going to get into in a minute. But one of the reasons why mobile payments are so important for the local ecosystem where BIA Kelsey lives is that mobile payments really have the potential to close the loop. And what we mean by that is the ROI attribution metrics that will tell advertisers and publishers what's working in their mobile ad campaigns or their overall local media campaigns, because we can see what resulted in actual transactions. That has a lot to do with the mobile device's portability and going with us to the store or wherever we're transacting in a local sense. So it provides a digital and thus a trackable path to conversion that can be used in lots of interesting ways to iterate campaign effectiveness on an ongoing basis. So that's really the idea. But one thing that we've seen kind of play out in mobile payments is that there have been a lot of false starts and the failure to really reach scale. And I think that's because a lot of the providers and a lot of the platforms in mobile payments are going about it wrong in a classic kind of solution in search of a problem sense. And what I mean by that is that through all of these mobile payment platforms, the value proposition is generally to solve problems that don't really exist. For example, not having to pay with cash or credit cards. These are things that mainstream Americans don't really feel as pain points. So we believe at BIA Kelsey that the true winners in mobile payments are those that actually solve consumer pain points. Now, to illustrate that, here are a few examples of what we're talking about. So PayPal, for example, they've started to do something called Order Ahead, which is a feature that within the PayPal app, for participating merchants, you can see their store inventory or their menu, whatever the case happens to be, and pay for things and order them in advance to then pick them up. In a lot of cases, that allows you to skip the line and save a lot of time. A similar value proposition is with its pay at table service, which in sit-down restaurant contexts allows diners to pay right on the spot at the table in the background, have the payment processed, and then be on their way. So it eliminates the convoluted process of having the server come over, get your credit card, go run it, et cetera, et cetera. Another example is Starbucks. They've done a lot to mainstream mobile payments among their customer base by allowing people to save time in these very hurried get your coffee in the morning type of situations. Now, more recently, they've taken that a step further by launching this same order ahead functionality I just described for PayPal. That includes the ability to order your coffee, skip that first long line at Starbucks and go straight to the pickup line. That makes a lot of sense for something like Starbucks if it's something you're doing on a daily basis, something that you're ordering habitually and often the same order, really something that provides true utility in saving time for people. And then the last example here of mobile payment wins with interesting models that should be emulated is a company that, like Starbucks, isn't even a mobile payments company at its core, but has this as an interesting component of its service that's driven a lot of success it has. And that company is Uber. Uber's done a lot to take the friction out of payments by having it happen in the background. So instead of a ticking meter that you have in a cab ride, which, there's anxiety over how much you're going to tip the driver, and then there's a cash transaction at the end of the ride, or a credit card transaction with those credit card processing machines that don't work half the time, and you're at a busy intersection, and the ability with Uber to instead have all of that happen in the background and you simply walk away really solves a true pain point. And as you could tell, that's the theme here of three companies that are doing that and providing real utility, and again, eliminating pain points. So where does Apple Pay fit into all of that, as that's been getting a lot of attention lately? Unfortunately, it does not hit some of these marks of being a true utility quite yet. Its largest discernible value proposition is for users to tap to pay for something at an NFC terminal as opposed to swiping a credit card. And that's simply not enough of a change in value proposition to change what is really an entrenched habit of paying for something. The way we pay for things has a lot of habitual components to it, and it requires a lot of user comfort levels. So anything that's going to get over that adoption hump is going to really require a considerable value exchange that is much greater than what Apple Pay offers today. If you also look at the numbers, the iPhone currently has about 13% market share penetration of smartphones. So the iPhone 6 is a subset of that won't reach meaningful levels in terms of just the hardware replacement cycles for at least another year. And merchants really aren't going to have that critical mass of iPhone 6 adoption to be compatible and to be incentivized to upgrade their point of sale hardware. So it's that kind of chicken and egg hampered game that we often see in local, certainly going to be present here. We believe Apple Pay will get there and will increase its feature set, but right now it's simply not there yet. So where I'll end is that, while all of that happens, all of that kind of chicken and egg kind of jockeying to increase the iPhone 6 and Apple Pay's ubiquity, as all of those kind of steps kind of fall into place over the next year, the nearer term opportunity for Apple Pay and for mobile payments in general is going to be in-app payments, because it's not as hampered by a lot of those physical realities of the physical retail point of sale. Now, when I say in-app payments, of course, that's been around for a while with things like games and virtual goods and ordering songs or ringtones. But what I'm talking about here for in-app payments are things that are summoned by app and then fulfilled offline. And that is, of course, the burgeoning area of on-demand local services. That includes Uber, as I just went over. It includes services like TaskRabbit and Handy and Urgently and My Neighbor and a lot of these that we are featuring at our Interactive Local Media Conference. So the in-app payments to pay for something within app and then fulfill offline, not only is that going to be a burgeoning area where the app usage is going to keep growing, but the more and more it grows and the more apps we use, the more it's going to compel what I like to call a unification layer. And that's where Apple Pay comes in. And by unification layer, I mean a single point of entry at the operating system level that handles all of the payments, rather than forcing users to have different credit card relationships and billing relationships with each of these different siloed apps. So it really provides utility for the user in having that single point of entry that importantly has two main success factors. One, it's trusted, because again, mobile payments and all payments is something that requires trust and user security. And in this case, Apple Pay does have that trust factor because Apple's brand equity. And then two is easy and fast. Apple Pay also has that because of its Touch ID seamless checkout process, which is very slick. So the point of all of this is that mobile payments will take a while to get off the ground in the sense that everyone's talking about it, the retail point of sale transaction. However, its nearer term benefit, which I don't think a lot of people have talked about yet, is this on-demand local service for in-app payments throughout all of these growing numbers of apps we use for local services that are summoned on demand and fulfilled offline. So that's it for this presentation. It really just scratched the surface, but hopefully is a conversation starter for lots of these different areas of mobile payments. So we're eager to discuss with you on a deeper level this or any of the other coverage areas of BIA Kelsey analysts. You can email me for any questions. I'm at mboland@biakelsey.com, and we look forward to engaging with you. So I'm Mike Boland. Thank you for listening.